What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of The Bullpen, a joint venture from Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. We hope that you guys are ready for a great episode. We have so much to get to today. We are a week away, people, from the Craig Jones Invitational ADCC Throwdown. Yes, there's going to be so much jiu-jitsu. You're probably going to get exhausted. I know I am. You know why? Because this group of fine gents are going to be coming to you live from Las Vegas all week long, and we are going to be doing a fight companion as well as our trademark pre and post shows. And who better to start us off with that other than our good friend Tim Freeman, telling us a little bit about why he's excited to go join us in Vegas. Tim, why are you excited to join us in Vegas next week for coverage?
Oh, man, that's easy. This is potentially the biggest weekend we've ever had in jiu-jitsu. There's been some great weekends, but this one is really building up to be the top of the heap when it comes to excitement and promotion. So I have to be there. There's no other place I could possibly be. I tell people all the time that I am the Forrest Gump of jiu-jitsu. I just show up in the background at all the cool places almost on accident, but this time definitely on purpose. 7 days away. I really regret not putting together an ADCC CJI advent calendar and counting down the last 30 days because I've been so damn excited for this. I'm getting nervous for it. Now that we're getting close, I'm actually getting nervous. I'm like, man, this is really going to happen. I'm stoked, dude. I can't wait.
I'm not getting nervous. I'm getting less sleep. So that's pretty much where I'm at this point. However, I get excited whenever we have production coming up. And yes, we're going to have 3 straight days of information, 3 straight days of shows, 3 straight days of nonsense, technique breakdowns, you name it, and fan interaction. And of course, 3 straight days of one handsome KEVIN Sherrill. KEVIN, why are you excited to join us for coverage out in Las Vegas, sir?
Well, I'm always excited to have a camera directly on me for as long as possible. But a reason for people to tune in is if you guys have been paying attention to any of the lead up to any of these 2 respective promotions bickering back and forth, and you think that that's done, I don't know what jiu-jitsu you've been keeping up with. This is going to be one-upmanship at its finest. It's going to be, as Tim said, the biggest weekend in jiu-jitsu that maybe we've ever had. It's certainly going to be a landmark event in the history of martial arts, and I think it's going to be filled with pettiness and one-upsmanship, and I am here for that.
And just in case you guys were wondering, our senior correspondent in pettiness has officially been awarded to KEVIN Sherrill. So I know that he has gotten the handsome title from another organization, but here we will have him as chief pettiness correspondent. So congratulations to you on the promotion here, sir.
It's an honor. I've waited my whole life for this.
That's what I like to hear. Now, listen, you guys, 3 people here. We're going to be leading you through the action, and we've had a lot of people ask us some questions. Earlier today, we had somebody asking, like, what exactly is it going to look like? And I go, first off, just tune in. Second off, it's going to be like we've done things before, but an elevated version of that. So that means you can expect more than what you've already seen on our previous shows. Yes, we will have the trademark board. Yes, we will have multiple correspondents, many of whom you recognize from competing in those trials processes themselves, or likely high in consideration for competing at those events, or maybe unable to compete in those events for whatever reason. And this time we'll be adding a little bit of flavor that features both of our 2 gents here and what they do great, which means they'll be doing analysis and technique breakdowns. And yes, there's a lot of stuff coming, so I can't tell you everything, but I can tell you expect the unexpected. But what I can answer is a question here from Egghead Warrior that says, are you guys suiting up or more casual for the shows and fight companions? Oh, we're suiting up, sir. This is too impressive, too important of a week to not be in full suits and regala. So I am very excited for this. I should remind the gentlemen on this call, we do have to get dry cleaning. So please make sure you guys do that. That's like my actual like dad reminders right now that I'm checklisting as we go through. So get your shit washed, everybody. And yeah, I think this kind of beckons for it. Now, Kevin, we're not used to seeing you in a suit. Do you feel like the audiences are ready to see you out of rash guard into suit?
There's no way they're ready. There's absolutely no way they're ready. Listen, you think I'm popular now? Just wait. I'm gonna blow up and act like I don't know nobody.
Absolutely. And Wallow, you have 2 comments here. I'll get to one of them in a second, but it says, "Get your suit ready, egg, you dork." Absolutely. I mean, listen, dude, they didn't give us a requirement at the PGF, but we came suits already. This time, we're definitely suiting up, so there is that. And thank you for your earlier comment, which says, "Hello, fellas. I hit the like button and I'm subscribed. Let's go." Thank you for that. That is a huge, important component to this whole little ordeal that we're doing. Gentlemen, you mentioned this. We get to the board in a second, but I wanted to bring this up. Kevin and Tim, you both mentioned that this is a big week in jiu-jitsu, perhaps one of our biggest weeks of all time. My question before we even begin these proceedings, is there going to be a bigger week than this? Do you foresee in the future that these 2 things will collide again, or is this a one-time occurrence? Because to me, I think that's the appeal of this particular week that's coming up. I don't know that you see the Craig Jones Invitational and ADCC go head-to-head again in the future. And next year, ADCC gets the crack all by itself. Tim, I'll go to you first.
No, I think probably we're going to see some monkey see, monkey do action coming up in the future. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody tries this against CJI at some point in the future and tries to play off of it. Will it be successful again? That's the question. It might not be as successful or draw as much attention because this is the first time something like this has actually happened. EBI and Metamoris kind of went head to head, but they usually competed on different days completely. They weren't going after the same athletes. It was a little bit different. This feels personal, and I think that's why it's so big. I think that's why there's so much drama and there's so much interest in it because people want to see how the storylines are actually going to play out. For once, jiu-jitsu got the storyline right, but they did.
Tim, I'm going to interrupt you here for a second. We're getting a slight lag on you.
And they did it with BJJ beef, which is actually kind of funny and ironic at the same time.
I want to point this out, that we are getting the majority of what you are saying. So it is impressive. It is coming through like string and cannon. And I think we're back with you now. Yes, I heard the majority of your argument. It was just very funny because it was coming through like I was listening to Morse code. See, spot, go down by the well. Save me now, please. No, you make some good points. Yes, it is very possible that we may see this. I think you bring up a good point. What if somebody uses this against the Craig Jones Invitational in the future? And who announces first? Like, come 2026. Yeah. So there is that dynamic. Kevin, as our chief pettiness officer, I have to ask you, do you foresee either of these organizations trying to out-angle one another in 2025? And if so, how is ADCC able to do that when it's an off year for them?
Man, I'm going to make some powerful enemies in a second. I don't think they can out-angle Craig Jones in pettiness, in promotion, and in engaging fans. Craig Jones is a case study in our sport for, regularly getting silver, losing the battle, and winning the war. I think if you go head-to-head with, I have no idea whether CJI repeats again, but if you go head-to-head with Craig Jones in pettiness, if you try to play his games, you are going to lose. I think ADCC can't out-angle him. They have to run with that prestige angle because they have been around a lot longer. They are extremely well-respected. They are an established promotion. They're the Olympics of jiu-jitsu. I think they have to run with that angle, not engage in a bickering back and forth war that they are going to lose. We have watched time and time again Craig Jones lose the match, win, and fail upward. That man is masterful at it.
It is true. And I would point this out. Even if you were to take nothing here, and we did just lose Tim, don't worry, he'll be back in a minute. Even if there is any kind of precursor to this, we did see the fact that, yes, Mo is doing way less lives now. And I can't think that's just by accident, because that man loves going him on live a lot to talk for 2 hours at a time with no real agenda, and will sprinkle in some information. And then I feel like 30 minutes of the time he's on air, it's telling you what the kids tournament is going to look like. And I go, I don't care. Like, I get it. It's good for the future of the sport, but at the same point, not interested to see the seeding for the children. Godspeed to them. They can wait. They can see it online later. But that is usually, it's like, here's a spreadsheet. And I go, is this what we're doing? Could we
this is how you release the spreadsheet. That's the ideal way to do that.
Could we not do that? Like anything else, like legitimately anything else. And Wallow, I think this is an apt time for your comment to come in that says that Nashville Wi-Fi sucks. It's a rough day out in the Nashville. Tim is logging back in. We'll bring him back shortly. But before we get to that next prompt, I do want to bring this up, which says, who will be live from ADCC and who will be live from CJI? Do you have a preference which you get to watch live? Well, again, being like, I'm pissed. I just want you guys to know.
I'm back, bitches. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm sorry, guys.
You're fine. Nobody faults you here, Tim. Our question that we got was, do we have a preference on which we're going to get to watch live? We're going to be watching both. So the way we're going to have our system, our setup, is we will have screens happening at both sides for us to be viewing, and every correspondent is going to call in for a particular weight class. So a lot of our friends will be calling in from multiple destinations. That's as much as I can say. And when they call in, their job is to cover that weight class. And that way we don't leave anybody behind. Because I tell you this, when things start happening on multiple mats, it's going to be hard to keep up. And that is what we are here for. We will have mat alerts that will make you aware as to where the main action that you should be following along is going to be going through. So we have that all figured out. And yes, stay tuned for more information and announcements on that. We'll be revealing it as we go. So, gentlemen, with that, I think we should now head on over to the board. We transition to this very quickly, and we look at the very first topic, which is yesterday, Brandon and Catherine, our commish, went to go join Craig Jones live to reveal all of the brackets for the Craig Jones Invitational. It's a very interesting strategy to give it out about 14 days before the event, and I'm so happy to see that people are getting stoked about these announcements. And it begs the question, wow, have you seen these brackets? Let's go ahead and take a very quick look at them before I hand it on over to the analysis of both these gentlemen. But first, why don't we start with the plus 80s? Now, guys, look at this. Even if we're just taking this at base value, at the top, you have Nicky Rod versus Max Jimenez, Owen Livesley versus Muhammad Ali, Adam Bradley, Kyle Bain, Pat Downey, Luke Rockhold. Top of the other side, Victor Hugo, Lucas Kennard, Ignacio Santos versus Pedro Alex, which, by the way, sounds like a fake name. Daniel Caravet versus Philippe Andrew, João Gabriel Rocha versus William Tackett. And that, my friends, is your plus 80 bracket. I ask this to both of you right now. Where are we the most excited? I ask you that first. Kevin.
David versus Goliath, William Tackett, and João Gabriel Rocha. That is going to be a very interesting firefight. I also like Muhammad Ali and Owen Livesley. I want to see the setup of those pit walls, because if they're not high enough, people are in danger. Those two humans are going to go flying. They're going to throw each other all over the place. It's going to be a great time. I think those are two very action-packed matchups. Pat Downey and Luke Rockhold was very interesting to me because I feel like Luke Rockhold is just such a wild card as far as anytime you have, we talked about it with the Karate Combat matchups and the Pit Submission series. Anytime you have a high level MMA guy come in, you never really know where their pure grappling is going to match up. You know, is it going to be Galvo and Weidman, or is it going to be I'm not going to name names because it'll hurt feelings.
Okay. Thank you for that. That's very nice of you. I'm glad that you decided to be a pal first and then decided to just go like, you know what? I might say too much. So I will just shut my mouth and let the time expire. Tim, where are you the most excited in this bracket, sir?
You know, I think Kevin hit on a couple of the matchups that I'm really interested in. Mainly Pat Downey versus Luke Rockhold for that very issue. But I got to tell you, Rockhold is a very, very good grappler. He can hold his own on the ground. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out going up against a high-level wrestler like Pat Downey. And we kind of don't know how the pit wall is going to play. And we don't know, like, I think Rockhold is probably training pretty aggressively for this. I think he's taking it pretty seriously. And he's probably got tactics he wants to use off the pit wall, especially now that he knows he's going to go up against Pat Downey. He may be even fine-tuning his training in the next week and a half and preparing for it. So I think Rockhold has a good chance to move past that match. But who knows what's going to happen? I think that's why that's an interesting matchup. The other one, the David versus Goliath matchup with Andrew Tackett and Kirvlay, however you said that, that's a great job on that pronunciation. I'm sorry, Rocha. It's Tackett versus Rocha. I think both Tackett boys have a strong chance at getting to the finals, but it's like, can he get past Rocha? You can't totally count him out, but it's going to be a pretty big task. And if he does get past him, what kind of shape is he going to be on to move forward in the bracket? And then lastly, I'm really looking forward to seeing Adam Bradley and Kyle Boehm. Boehm has competed in so many formats. He's done all the submission grappling formats. I haven't seen a ton of Adam Bradley. I know he had a match against Gordon. I know he's tough. I know he's a good jiu-jitsu guy. He's got some good wrestling. But I think Boehm has a chance to get past him, and I think that'll be a good matchup. So those are the guys in the 80 plus that I'm looking forward to. I think the under 80 has some more exciting matchups, but the over 80 is going to be fireworks as well.
What a nice diplomatic way to say you're less excited about them. I want to point this out because there is a reason we did them first. And there was some nervousness about, is this going to be a fun or captivating division? I think that was quelled very quickly by this bracket announcement because people were like, oh, I'm only excited for the negative 80 kilogram. Look at this. This altogether right here is compelling for a number of reasons, because if you look at it and you play this out, let's say Nicky Rod does get past Max. Then he's got to go up against Owen Livesey or Muhammad Ali. Those are both great matches. Adam Bradley, Kyle Boehm, that's going to be great to start off with. Let's take Tim's idea, which is let's see Boehm go ahead. Then you've got a real wild card. Pat Downey is likely to get submitted if you ask me. However, maybe he pushes it on. Maybe he uses his youth and experience in wrestling against Luke Rockhold. It's just Luke is one of those sneaky guys. So if that is the case, maybe you see Kyle Boehm versus Luke Rockhold. And if that is the case, how great is that? And if you get Adam Bradley versus either Pat Downey or Luke Rockhold, amazing to see. Now, over on the right-hand side, Victor Hugo, Lucas Kennard, you have to believe that Victor Hugo has to be the favorite. The consensus here, I think, is that they want to try and pair up a Nicky Rod versus Victor Hugo sort of situation. That is why they have put them on the opposite sides of the bracket. If we go back to this and we go down even further, you look at Ignacio Santos versus Pedro Alex. Okay, you figure it's still possibly looking at a Victor Hugo sort of ceremony. And yet, at the very bottom of this, William Tackett and João Rocha. You get the sense that if this played out and they get what they want, if you have Victor Hugo versus William Tackett, that is going to be an epic match. Like, this is a big uphill battle for William Tackett, who is one of the favorites of this tournament. But if that kid truly does go all the way uphill, it really will add to the narrative that you don't find in other sports. This is almost like an absolute challenge for William Tackett, and I think that is part of the compelling nature of this. So miss me with your comments about the plus 80. It looks very exciting. Having said that, let's go to the more exciting one. And let's get now to the incredibly fun and very, very impactful negative 80 kilos, which I'll read them off quickly and then we'll get some analysis here. First off, wow, do you want fireworks? We've got them. Ty Rotolo versus Jason Nolf. Then going down, Roberto Jimenez versus Levi Jones-Leary. You got Lucas Barbosa versus Kenta, Andy Varela versus Joseph Chen. And if you aren't excited about that rematch, get excited. Cade Rotolo versus Mateus Denise on the right side bracket. Canuto versus Langaker, another rematch that is going to be for the ages. Majid Hage versus Owen O'Flanagan, and Andrew Tackett versus Nicky Ryan. Gentlemen, where do we begin on this? What is the weakest match here? Tim, I'll start off with you.
The weakest match. Wow. Throw those brackets back up again. Let's see. Man, it's really hard to say. I don't think there's a weak match in the opening rounds in the under 80 bracket here. Man, it's like Ty and Nolf. Ty probably has an advantage just because he's on a run. But anything can happen. And you're setting up a potential rematch with Ty and Roberto Jimenez. We know that Jimenez has had some big matchups against Cade. He also has fought Ty before in the past, so that's always going to be fireworks. Jimenez is a wild card grappler. He's one of my favorite athletes to watch. And then you move down, you got Kenta. He's training with the B team. He's actually training all over. He's a super talented grappler who's going to come into an event like this and might be slightly overlooked. Who knows? But it's possible that he could fly under the radar that first round. And then Varela and Chen, that's a rematch. Chen just beat Varela at WNO. So, man, who knows what's going to happen? But there's a lot of good. If you just had that, if that was just the bracket, it would be worth watching. It would be stirring up excitement. But then you jump to the other side, and it's the same thing. We might see Rutolo versus Rutolo here. We could see brothers face each other in the finals. How would that go down? Who knows, right? How are they going to play it? I think they scrap. I think they get after it. So I can't say enough good things about this bracket. You got Canuto. Majid Hague is out there, man. Gorilla Hands. That dude's tough as hell. That's going to be a really hard bracket to get through. And then Tackett and Ryan on the bottom, like, Jesus, dude, it's stacked.
It delivered in so many different ways. And it's just the announcement of, oh, hey, this is our entry. I will ask this. Now I'll go over to the good friend, Kevin Sherrill. Kevin, what are you most excited for? Like, of those, what would you say are your top two matches that you're most anticipating now?
Yeah, we're going to have to narrow it down because this is one of those brackets that we could have just done. The board could have just been matchups from the minus 80. Like I've been talking about these for days with a couple of friends of mine. The one I'm most excited about is Nicky Ryan and Andrew Tackett. That could have been a final. There's a lot of these matchups that could be finals, like Andy Varela and Joseph Chen, but that one right there, Andrew Tackett and Nicky Ryan, is incredibly interesting to me from a technical perspective. I think Nicky Ryan has trouble with pace, and I think Andrew Tackett runs the pace up, but also gives a ton of opportunities to a Nicky Ryan that is a phenomenal finisher. Like, if you allow Nicky Ryan on your back or allow him to foot trap you, he can finish you from a variety of positions. He can become very sticky. But we've also seen him, again, his losses come from pace for the most part and physicality. So it's a really, really asymmetrical matchup. I think that's a tough one. In my notes, I have Nicky Ryan wins by foot trap or back clinch, and Tackett wins by pace, which is exactly the matchup you love: pace versus, precision. I think after that, man, again, Cade Ruotolo versus Mateus Denise. You're looking at two ADCC champions in the first round. That's wild. That's absolutely wild. You have two of the best back takers in the game with Levi Jones-Leary and Roberto Jimenez first round. The whole board could have just been matchups. I absolutely love this bracket. Kenta Iwamoto and Hulk. I don't know what Kenta weighs. That man, like, it's so hard to place. I'm like, yeah, this dude could be 160 pounds. He could be 220 pounds. I would believe you either way. But let's assume he's giving up a size disadvantage. He has never shown that to be a problem. And he is honestly a dark horse in this division. I think it's too stacked of a division for me to call for him as the champ or anything like that. But I do think he is somebody that, because of the nature of how stacked this division is, people may overlook, and you really, really shouldn't. If you missed his match versus Mika, Kenta's no joke. Kenta is absolutely no joke. Man, I don't know where to go with this, man.
It's all right.
Dude, yeah. Have you ever, like,
his hair's
like
getting frazzled?
I was about to say, hold on. I got to take it out on just the solo shot. You can tell the stress level of the nation through Kevin Sherrill's hair. Like, you're essentially at an orange alert right now as it's starting to frizz up. Like,
you can see it. You can see it tick and just gradually head towards how intense and animated I get.
What's happening to Kevin? You're going new wave, man.
You know what the weird part was? You had great analysis, and I'm happy about that. But the stress it seemed to be causing you, I wanted to interject at least 3 times and be like, I should take the camera off him. I should really let my man sizzle down for a split second here.
I feel like I very rarely, I got into the sport and I got into wrestling off of the same, like, jiu-jitsu nerd that a lot of people do. And after 20 years in grappling, it is very rare I truly recapture the enthusiasm, the jiu-jitsu nerd, the grappling nerd that I had when I first got into it. This bracket has done it to me. I'm incredibly excited. The bracket release has gotten me just absolutely, I'm on 10. I'm in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. This is going to be a phenomenal weekend.
I love it. Well, I'm happy to hear that we have brought the inner child out of you. It only took 20 years, guys. See? Patience. It pays off. It can happen to you. I'm Surgical Bitch. Biatch, I'm sorry, says Ritolos versus wrestlers. I want to see that match. You do get to see it. And I'm excited about this because you know it's high pace. You know it'll be very fun. It'll be entertaining for a mass audience. So I don't know how they do this. I don't know if they start with the plus 80s and then kind of give us what we want to see, or do they just already start off with action and say, no, we're not even making you wait. We're getting straight to the business that you came here to see, which is we start off with the Trollo brothers, and guess what? We're going to keep this party going all the way until we give you a Nicky Ryan. And to me, both of those are kind of systematic ideas. Let me just propose this, though. If we look at this real quick, one more time, I want to just go down these lists. Let's say Ty Rotolo gets past Jason. Then you have him versus Roberto again. That is an interesting matchup because it has happened before, and it may not go the way you think it does. Lucas Barbosa versus Kenta. We mentioned that could be a spoiler. But either of those gentlemen facing Andy Varela or Joseph Chen. Yikes. Very fun to watch.
Yeah.
Cade Rotolo, Mateus. All right, cool. 2 ADCC champs. Then take on 2 exciting individuals. And a Tommy Langerker spoiler here against Hanato Kanuto can happen. It has happened before. And if Hanato goes, he is going to do his damnedest to flip off of every part of that setup. Majid Hage, don't discount him. That baseball bat choke can catch people even in no gi. And Owen O'Flanagan has been rising very well and has leg locks for days. He might be somebody who could upset somebody. And then him having to take on the winner of Andrew Tackett versus Nicky Ryan. My friends in jiu-jitsu, I tell you this, I think that's why you release the brackets early. Because guess what? We're going to be talking about the Craig Jones Invitational when they release the brackets at ADCC. And it's not to say they won't be good brackets, but we're going to be so immersed with watching the reality of one while they say like, oh, hey, tomorrow this might happen. That's going to be something that people can't even process until 11 p.m. that day when they're coming off of their highs. If there is a strategic drop, this was the equivalent of Taylor Swift saying, oh, Eminem, do you have a release? What if I just put out a new song and we'll see what happens? Like, this is some epic shit. And the fact that we get to benefit from the best. So, gents, we must move on, and we will move on. Let's just say this. This is an interesting aspect that we saw here in a development, which is that the Rochas have interesting vacation plans. Most families go to hang out, go to Disneyland, Disney World, anything Disney related, Super Mario World. The Rochas' family vacation this summer involves going to ADCC in Las Vegas, and it does seem like they will be bringing the hits. I can't prove that they won't slap anybody, but they'll come real close to it in the kind of collar ties that you have come to expect from this family. Tim, let me ask you, what makes you the most excited to see that family on the ADCC stage?
Well, you know, I'll get to that, but I would love to see Wagner driving the Rocha family cross country a la Clark Griswold on a Vegas vacation, just hauling ass from Florida to Las Vegas to get there on time. I think it's a pretty cool thing. I don't know if this has happened before. I think we've had siblings and we've probably had father-son, father-daughter compete, but I don't know if we've had father-son and daughter competing on the biggest stage at the biggest event that historically we've had in no-gi jiu-jitsu. That's got to be a pretty cool feeling for the Rocha family. And I think they all deserve to be there. They're all tough. Achilles is really putting out some good work. Obviously, Wagner is like a perennial guy still. He's still out there getting after it. He's not always everyone's favorite fighter, but he finds ways to win. And Jasmine's just having exciting match after exciting match. So I think it's awesome. I'm happy that they're out there getting after it. The question is like, who can rival this? Like, who's going to come? Are there any other Rochas coming up? Is there like a 14-year-old Rocha that's killing kids right now at, kids' pans that we need to watch out for? But yeah, they got to feel proud. It's a pretty cool thing, man.
That's a great thing that you brought up, which is another prompt, which is there any other family that's going to be able to put it down like this? Kevin, I'll ask you this. You're somebody with the ear close to the competition circuit. Is there another family we need to look out for?
I mean, the Tackett's and the Rotolas have the brothers, but as far as multi-generational dominance, I don't think you can beat the Hochas in modern jiu-jitsu. I think at the Hocha family Thanksgiving dinner, they serve calf kicks and palm strikes. Like, you are getting gritty, mean jiu-jitsu in spades every time they come out. And you know what it is. You know what it's going to be when you see all of these three step out there. It's one of those matchups that as a competitor, you're like, oh man, it'd be nice to beat them. It's going to suck the entire time though. Like every second of that match is going to be uncomfortable for you, which is why people tune in, to watch them.
Well, we're going to forge ahead here in a second, but I did want to say, in response to that prompt that Tim put out to the rest of us, I would say, what about the young man at PGF? What about young Jeff? How many other members of that family are there, Tim? I thought I heard that was the eldest of like 6 kids. Maybe I'm wrong here, but a number of people.
God, I
think
hope not.
We might just see the beginnings of that. So even if he's not going to be the dad to a group of young kids, because Lord forbid if that happens, then we all feel a million years old. But it could be the start of a new family, and one that just says, well, guys, we all go to compete against every other family possible. So it is something to keep in the back of our minds, just as we are going there. But yes, Jet Thompson, yes. That's where we're at.
I don't want to see 6 of those kids. Jet's scary enough, man. We don't need more.
Well, I think his mom is a brown belt too. Yeah, his mom's a brown belt. His dad trains. Jet trains. His younger brother trains. Yeah, I don't know what they're serving. They're serving palm strikes for breakfast too. They're passing the mother's milk at that house, dude. Yeah, they're not playing around, dude.
I just love the fact that now we're in a place where if other families get together, they're like, oh, the Hochas, come on over to our place. No jiu-jitsu's happening here, just dinner. I mean, unless you guys want to for money, no big. It's all good. Just a happy family Thanksgiving. So kudos to that family. I will say this. That is an impressive feat, no matter how you cut it up. It is going to be interesting to see how they go. And I would have normally put a question that said, who will go the furthest? But that's kind of a hard question to really answer here because Wagner's still very much in it. But Jasmine's kind of like she could make something happen there. So we'll have to pay attention. And Achilles, I think, could be a very nice spoiler in that series. So lots to watch and lots to look out for. Let's press ahead to our next topic, which is this. Tim, you put this one down, and I'm just going to have to speed through this one. There was a lot of stuff that happened this weekend. So, Tim, your task in the next 3 minutes is going to be trying to summarize all that happened in the world of grappling and jiu-jitsu. You have 3 minutes, sir. Go.
Well, I'll do my best. I don't have all the results from everything, but we had a bunch of stuff go down. ONE FC had Maya Bastos defeating Danielle Kelly for the atomweight grappling championship. And Danielle Kelly was pretty adamant that she was coming to win, was looking to back up that title that she had recently acquired. And Bastos had other plans for her. She won a decision. Uriah Faber competed at ADXC 5, which is in Abu Dhabi. He defeated Bibiano Fernandez by decision. BJJ Stars 13 Vikings edition. Mika Galval defeated Davi Ramos on points. What else happened? IBJJF Orlando. No idea who won that. Submission Hunter Pro, Midwest Finishers. Tons of stuff's going down. My question is like, where's the sport going? Because it's growing everywhere. We're kind of seeing a gold rush scenario where everyone's trying to do everything, but eventually I think what we're going to see is like who actually can step away from the pack as a leader. I predict by this time next year, there's going to be a couple major players and everyone else is going to be like minor leagues or amateur in the sense that nobody's getting paid very well at all. I think that's where we're going. Everyone's chasing dollars. Obviously, people are going to have to look at opportunity costs, production teams, people that are throwing the events, the athletes are going to have to start figuring out where they want to devote their time and resources. And money talks. Prestige is cool, but money talks. You can buy food with money. You can't buy food with prestige. So I think we're going to see some major players jump off here. But I was just impressed. There's so many things going on in the States and internationally on one weekend in jiu-jitsu, and that's on top of the UFC and the PFL and all the other things that were going down this weekend. So if you're a combat sports fan, you're living in, for us, this is the golden age. This is amazing. The things that are happening right now, you could watch fights almost every night of the week if you want. So pretty cool times, gentlemen.
Very nice stuff there, Tim. I do want to not take you to task, but kind of echo what you're saying here in a pointed way, which is, oh my God, there's too much shit. And while we're on the topic, can we stop with 80, whatever the next things are? It's already difficult to say AC/DC as a band, and then in the next sentence talk about 80cc, because my brain can't do it. A lot of the times it will slip and I'll be like, oh, my favorite band, I love 80cc. And you go, oh, shit. So now you throw another organization that's like ADXC. No, brain can't do it. Figure out other letters. There are other letters you can combine together. You put those together, and I know what you're trying to do here. You're trying to make some sort of branding happening. There are other names. Come up with other shit. I can't do it. I'm dumb, and I don't think I'm far off from the rest of the community. So please just do us a solid for us simple folks. Kevin, you put this one up here, and we're going to forge ahead to our next topic, which is a very, very near and dear one to the group here, which is we have some exciting news, and this is one that we are so happy to relay. Kevin, what is the big news, and why do we have a friend in the top right-hand corner of this broadcast?
because he earned it, man. Stephen Eakin, Bobby Botham. If you've been keeping up with the PGF, you've been seeing him establish himself as one of the best in the business. The man works hard as hell. He absolutely has worked his ass off to master this craft. And if you have not been paying attention, I'm excited for you. You are about to be introduced to the best announcer in jiu-jitsu. I could not be more excited for this guy. He'll be the announcer for CJI. I have to imagine that came by way of Brandon recommending talent to Craig Jones, and Craig recognizing the value. It's phenomenal, man. It's very well earned. Congratulations, Stephen.
All right, Tim, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, on top of being awesome at what he does, the dream is a hell of a stand-up guy at the same time. He's a sweetheart. He was great to spend time with the week of the PGF. Professional, kind, polite, hardworking, all the things that you want to be yourself. He has those qualities. So I was really, really stoked when I saw the CJIs bringing him on. It's great to see people that are really working hard and putting time in and are passionate about it, to see them get the call up and see them get the door open for them. So major, major props to him. I'm looking forward to seeing him do his job out there too. I think it's going to be awesome. And he's going to be on, this might be the biggest stage he's been on. I know PGF was big, but this is going to be big, 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 big. So
well, hold on. Let's not give him a complex before he goes to do this thing. Let's just say it is a big event. He's going to crush it. No anxiety needed. You got this. And what I would say is, as a fellow announcer, commentator in the world, Stephen, you are a wonderful person for this. You're the right person for this. You're going to bring a lot of energy and a lot of passion. And I dare to say this. I don't think they're going to be yelling at you like they did for the ADCC lady, because Leanne took some real heat on that one, and I felt like that was kind of unjust. She's mostly announcing names, and it's a production failure that they said, you know what's great? Have her announce all 100+ names at once. And everybody's like, who the fuck is this lady? And I go, you shut your mouth. She is a Pride legend, everybody. However, I do agree with you. It is going on a little long. But that's not her fault. She did her job. So I hope you nothing but continued success. Stephen, you're going to crush it. We cannot wait for you. And as members of the PGF family, it feels so good to see you get your due. So big props to you, sir. We're going to go to our next topic, which is this right here. Yes, we do see an excellent moment happening in the Olympics. Tim, you put this one up. I've got time on the clock for you to tell us what is happening in the world of wrestling that caught our attention, sir.
Well, what we saw yesterday is the youngest female Team USA wrestler to ever win Olympic gold. Amit Allure becomes the youngest to do it. She's from Walnut Creek, California, right in the backyard of the Stockton 209 hood. Walnut Creek is very nice. Don't get me wrong. It's actually beautiful. But this is someone who, I'm just going to read you her bio real quick. 8 world championships at cadet, junior, and senior world championship level. She won the senior championships in 2022, 2023. Going into 2024, she has not lost an international match in any age group since 2019. She's 37-0, outscored her opponents by a margin of 322 to 16 points. And most interesting, she's had some hardship. One of her brothers was brutally murdered in a home invasion robbery in 2018. She lost her father during COVID. Her grandfather is a Holocaust survivor. Her great grandmother is a Holocaust survivor. So this is somebody who, has gone through some things in her family history, and she still got out there and got the job done. Her coach, Sarah McMahon, who of course you'll recognize, had this statement to say. She said that she has a blend of judo, jiu-jitsu, and Greco-Roman. She isn't a traditional freestyle wrestler. She feels different, so it's very hard to train with someone like her. So that's a little bit of the feather in the cap in the judo jiu-jitsu crowd's hat. So nice job to Amit Allure. Congrats on the gold medal. It doesn't get better than that.
Love to see it. And, it's been one of those things that has been So interesting to see all of these stories happening from the Olympics. And I know we had a little bit of a discussion last week on whether we would like to be included or not, but you do love when these stories happen. And not gonna lie, would love to see that happen in jiu-jitsu a little bit more. So can't deny that. Great stuff all around. I want to keep things going here, guys. Let's keep this momentum going. And I would love to get some takes here on the following. Guys, it is very interesting to see how things are playing out here, but it does seem that Nick Diaz is going to OnlyFans. Now, listen, I don't know if this headline is the way you think it is, but it's not far off from it. Apparently, plans fell through for his last fight. So Nick Diaz is taking his talents to OnlyFans. Kevin, as the resident OnlyFans user here, what would you say is the best strategy for him in terms of maximizing his value on that?
If we're going off of the data that I have in my own personal life, cheating on me. No. Is he going on OnlyFans to fight? Man, that is absolutely a phenomenal play. That's going to go great. I actually have, if you can't tell, I'm totally unprepared for this. So Reese Watkins, Baby Goose, we have brought him up in a past podcast. He has fought on OnlyFans, and I will say this. It's a great platform. They put on a great show. Telling people you're going to be on OnlyFans and they should tune in is a lot tougher sell than you might expect. I wish the best to Nick Diaz in that endeavor. It is an awkward conversation every time. The good news is once you get that word out and you tell your friends in the group chat that you will be fighting on OnlyFans, they're telling everybody. No one is going to not hear about your fight. It is fantastic marketing, and it markets itself.
Tim, you were the one to bring this to our attention. So I guess it begs the question, how did you find out? And then also, what do we need to know specifically about this?
Well, I found out just reading, it was published out there, made the news cycle a few days ago when his match against Vicente Luque was called off, which was supposed to be overseas. I didn't think that match was going to happen because I don't think Nick can get a visa to travel. So I didn't think that was going to happen. But anyway, beyond that, he made this announcement, and he's not just looking to fight on it. He's going to just do stuff on it, which to me is highly entertaining. It's like, what are we going to see? We're going to see nunchucks. We're going to see bong rips. We're going to see him riding his bicycle. We're going to see him giving his ideas and theories about things. If he actually shares his real opinions about fights or upcoming fights or reviews fights, that could be highly entertaining, scattered in between all the other magic that is Nick Diaz. The other thing is, I noticed this. I was at the PFL in Nashville on Friday night, and they had Big John McCarthy and the Punk Josh Thompson doing their kind of remote live stream broadcast style promotion of the show, and they were doing it on OnlyFans. So I think OnlyFans is making a push to get into the sports market, which is what they were originally trying to do. It's just people found out they could take their clothes off and make money on the platform, and it got inundated with people doing that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's cool. More power to him. I hope he does something. This is a guy that was suspended for 5 years, so he's got to make some scratch at some point. Suspended for marijuana that you can smoke now, and it's not even a big deal. They took 5 years from this guy, so he's got to make that bread, man.
For sure. And I just want to point this out. I believe that both Cody Steele and Damian Anderson have appeared on OnlyFans to fight. So I don't know that they're the only people, because when I was trying to find one of Cody Steele's fights, they were like, oh, he's fighting on OnlyFans. And I go, I don't know that I want to watch that. Cody's the homie, but I don't know that I need to go seek that out. So yeah, it can happen to anybody here. That I think is going without saying. All right, gents, I think we got to get Kevin out of here in a second. But Kev, before we get you on out, I would like you to take a look at the very last thing that we have on the bulletin here before we get to the gallery and the comments, which is this. Guys, it's not a true episode of the Bullpen without a fight. And on this particular one, Kev, I want you to see, I guess we should say, the absurdity of this one. And Tim, if you would do us the kindness of walking us through what's happening in this fight, we would appreciate it. All yours, sir.
Two dudes, pretty good hands. You know, they're throwing combos. They're trying to slip. No feints, you know. Just dude on the right drops his hands a lot, but he's amped. He's he's live and ready to go. The wild thing is there's a jiu-jitsu school right behind him with the door open, and anytime they could slide onto the mats and finish this, but they're like, no. He almost sits him down in the chair, and then he like, oh no, I better come away. And you'll see the dude with the broom in the background right there in the gym. He's just watching. And then watch, he'll walk over and show up in that glass door too. He walks over to that side. Watch, he's going to appear over there, and he peeks at it. He's like, what's going on? Yeah, there he is. He's like, are you guys still fighting? They're letting these guys fight. And then at headbutts, they ran in. They're like, no headbutts. Look at everyone comes out. No headbutt. Even the guy came out of the gym. That's it. No headbutts. We call it a headbutts.
So
fighting on the concrete's okay.
Before I let you go, Kev, what advice do you have to these fighters?
Oh my God. I think this is a phenomenal case study in rounding out your skill set. If you watch early on, we saw a phenomenal pull two out of the southpaw with the long hair. But unfortunately, what we're seeing here is a rounded classic Screets skill set where he's using headbutts. At one point, he turns this to our buddy here without the shirt turns this into a hockey fight with the hair grab. That's a pro move. Yep. That's a veteran move. He said, man, I don't like this head movement, this pull two. I'm going to grab that weave. No more pull two. It's all gone. He throws some knees in there. He uses the wall work. This is a rounded, well-rounded skill set versus a man with a admittedly clean jab and pull two. Fantastic. Look at this. Controls the range, goes right in with the uppercut. He knows he's in control. Fantastic work. Excellent job. Veteran job. Good stoppage by the refs as well.
By the headbutt against the stucco wall, too.
Yeah. So, Kev, we'll let you get on out of here, but let people know where people can see you and where they can find you, sir.
Kevin Grapples on Instagram. Come by American Top Team Lima and come roll with me. Doors open. Please come train. It's a blast. If you're in Atlanta, hit me up on Instagram. You're absolutely welcome to come through and grab a roll. Yeah, and I'll see you guys on CJI. Fantastic.
Well, we're excited to have you join us in a few. We've got one more episode, I believe, that we'll be doing to preview all the proceedings. But until then, go get your training on, sir. We'll catch up with you in a few days. But our thanks to you for your time here today,
that was fantastic.
Peace, Kevin.
Thank you for letting me in on that. That was awesome. I'll catch you guys later.
I'm so glad that Kevin's like, I would have left. I'm like maybe 2 minutes over, but you did start playing a fight, and I got to see it out.
Yeah, so worth it, man.
Good fight. Later. All right, catch you later, Kev. While Kevin's going to go ahead and escape here, I'll readjust our settings here in a moment. But I actually want to take a moment to kind of walk you through my interpretation of this fight, because I think we all look at different things. I know, you're a black belt. I'm not a black belt. I'm more a producer. I think of TV. And whenever that happens, just so you can see where my brain was on this fight and understand, here we go. First things first, have you ever been in a fight where you said, I'm so pissed, I don't even care that one of my chanclas came off? And he tried to kick the other shoe off and then says, fuck it, let's keep going. Now, I don't know what Philippe Esparza's cousin is so mad about here, but the dude without the shirt is trying to stand his ground. And I do appreciate him saying, like, no, I'll take every shot you've got. And long-haired dude who definitely plays in a metal band is more than game for the proceedings. Now, we talk about this dude in the background. Let's stop right here. This dude, who's clearly inside of that door, thinks about it and says, well, what should I do? Should I stop this? Should I entertain it? No, he doesn't give up at all. In fact, he's entertained by this, but says, this is the wrong angle. So then he slides over to the other door. We cannot applaud this move enough because most people will lose where the action is, but this man follows the action to where the better angle is. I need this man on my TV crew. I need him as a cameraman because he will follow where the action is supposed to be. And this is where I love it going from, you know what? He's beating me on the hands, but I think I could get some respect by using some of these knees. And that's where you see long-haired Soundgarden dude kind of get taken to task. The headbutt. In full disclosure, didn't see that coming. Maybe I should have, and maybe that's on me. But it does show you that, yes, you cannot fully prepare for these things whenever you take your self-defense classes. And finally, yes, as we did mention here, I do love that they let them fight it out until they're both kind of exhausted. And the headbutt's kind of the signal like, I think we're done here, right? And the gentleman who walks in to break it up goes, all right, boys. We've all had time. Now, did you notice this, though? Tim, did you notice who is the second person to come break up the fight? Oh, it's the dude who was looking for the good angles.
Yeah.
He makes himself available now that it's been broken up. I love the fact that we get a full character arc study. There is a beginning, middle, and end for one dude in the background. That is how much layering is in this one fight. And I have to tell you, Tim, I don't always know what you're going to bring to us. I don't always know what's going to happen on this show. But when you brought this one and you dropped this baby bird into all of our laps, I just thought to myself, we are truly gifted on this show to be presented these two things. And I was very excited to see that. So thank you for that, Tim. It really does mean a lot. Appreciate that one.
It is a great fight. The audio is great too, because you could hear the guys go at one point when he throws the headbutt. You hear the guys who are watching this fight, evidently, they go, no headbutt. No, come on, no headbutt. And they run it. They're like, I
do love the fact that they think about it and they're like, whoa, sir, we have standards here. Don't you dare bring your non-headbutting into this. So as you will see with me right now, I am making the adjustments live. This is how you can tell this is a professional show here, everybody. I am able to make these amends and makes these fixes live on the broadcast. So, Tim, I have to ask this, though. You see all these things happen. Where did you find that particular fight at?
I found that fight. I was slumming on Reddit, and I found it on there.
Say no more. Say less. Once you said Reddit, I was like, there's only one place in the world that could have that kind of foresight and insight into all of this. And you did find it, sir.
Yeah, it was a really great fight. Sometimes I'll check out World Star, but World Star is just brutal. It's like brutal knockouts. I wanted to see a good, clean fisticuffs.
This is really how you can tell you're in your dad era, where you're like, no, boys, come on. Come on. Good, clean fight here, everybody. I want to be able to show this off to my friends and make it somewhat TV accessible. And if it's not TV accessible, we're kind of screwed here. All right.
Marcus of Queensbury rules.
You did get a note here that said, great find, Tim. So congratulations. And it says, I mean, the dude with no shirt, low key got hands. I mean, he does, but the dude with the shirt was kind of leading that dance for a good deal of that.
I thought he was too. The fight does change. The no shirt guy, he's got some fights under his belt. So, and it showed. he needed about 30 seconds to warm up,
it's one of those fights where you go, I got to get hit a few times before I'm really in it. That's how you know that dude is a true professional. We do have time now to get to the gallery, and we'll start off with some of the comments that we had here that we didn't actually get a chance. Will CJJ be one match at a time or multiple screens? From all that I gather, it does look like it's one match at a time. That could change. I feel like that structure doesn't lend itself to multiple matches, at least not that I'm aware of. So could be wrong. Take that for what you will. Got that note. OnlyFans is hosting Fights Mind Blown. So there is that. I do like this as well. We could have seen two sets of brothers going at it, but Nicky Ryan's brother doesn't like $1 million in his pockets.
We could have seen 3 if William would have jumped in the bracket with Andrew as well.
That is true. That is true. There is that. And it says, Nicky commented several times that he doesn't want to fight Andrew if he doesn't have to because of the pace. So that was something that was mentioned in our analysis here. That's a relatively smart comment. So I don't know. I don't know how that plays out. And I mean, that is kind of the way to bait Nicky Ryan. is he does get a little gassed, and it is exploiting that tank. So there is that. And it says, does anyone know if wrestlers have been training any good jiu-jitsu schools to improve their submissions? I got to be honest with you, Mac, too. I think even the wrestlers know they're not getting submissions. I think they're there to bring a different dynamic. I don't think they're necessarily looking to go out there and be like, well, today's the day I heel hook attack it. I think they're coming out there to give you a different type of show. And that is definitely something where I was very pleased. So very happy to see them get included, because we kind of need some people to kick our ass sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes things exciting.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, let's get into this, which these were ones that Kevin found. And speaking of which, it kind of goes in there and it says, I love the delusional confidence of wrestlers button. So this was made in reference to somebody, a wrestler, saying like, hey, super stoked to be a part of it. Let's get this money. And you go, oh no, they're coming for the wrestlers. So I think actually the main reason, why would somebody say that? Why would somebody seem delusional? Okay. And you wonder to yourself, who would be that kind of person to come off as that delusional in a tournament like this? Well, they do exist, everybody. And it's because you get a comment like this that says, Glad Nolf gets to knock off one of the big names early. So that is what prompts some of these obscene sort of comments and whatnot. But I will go back. We have a couple more here. And this is one that said, after the winner of 80 plus is determined, how long until Gordon says, I beat you already, and put up your million versus me 5-1? Tim, what are your thoughts on this?
Dang. I mean, that's a good point. There's quite a few guys in that bracket that Gordon has beat. So obviously they're not going to put that money up, but Gordon's still going to have bragging rights, most likely, over anybody in that division. And he will do it. Believe me, just because he's part owner of Toehold Flip Flop now doesn't mean he's changed his ways. Like he's going to be Gordon. Gordon's going to Gord. There's no way around it.
Gordon's going to Gord. Can I offer some unsolicited advice here? So I know what's coming. I know that Gordon is going to call out whomever wins to probably go on a who's number one. So that's friendly territory for him. If I'm the winner, here's what I do. Again, unsolicited advice, do what you want to do. If Gordon calls you out and says, hey, I want you to put up your million, you should entertain that if you want to. You don't have to. You made $1 million. You don't have to do shit. Now, after taxes, it's kind of like 660. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's still a lot of fucking money in our sport. So with your $660,000, what should you do? If you're willing to entertain it or see something new, why don't you say you come fight me at the next Craig Jones Invitational? Don't let them dictate where you're going to go. How about you tell him to come on over to Craig Jones Invitational? Now, Craig has already said he's amicable to having Gordon on the show. Next year, no ADCC. No problem to me. So don't take one of these sideshows. Don't do it for less than what you're worth, because your rate is going up. Gordon will obviously be an A side, but that doesn't mean you're a B side necessarily, because now you have some cachet. You'll have won more than Gordon has in one tournament than he has at maybe some other tournaments. And I know he's very famously had a 7-figure deal for his grappling, which probably is true, but I don't think he's made that money because it was for multiple fights. And I think he's only done like 2 out of that contract, maybe 3. It's hard to tell these days because they keep giving him random opponents. I would just tell you this. Be very smart about how you do the negotiations, because you have money. You don't have to do it. And there's nothing that says you have to give up certain things. So I would tell you, play that card, make him come to the Craig Jones Invitational, because if that is going to be the pace, he'll probably take the John Jones side of saying like, you don't make the decisions, I make the decisions. But I just say that's some leverage, and why not utilize it to the best of your ability?
Throw the gauntlet down early too. Call him out.
Yeah.
That's the move. Get on the mic and call him out. immediately. Yep. Don't let him call you out.
This is a prison sort of situation. 100% stab him very quickly. If you shank him, you might get more respect out of him.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those situations where perhaps we need to give that media training to the individuals so that they can kind of see what they're truly capable of doing. But
sure.
I am very excited to see what the future holds for the winner of these divisions. And, it's going to be really dope when we do see maybe if like Attack It won it, they've been angling for Gordon for a while. And maybe, even if they don't win, watch what they get out of it. So,
yeah.
All right, here's what we're doing. This is one that you sent to me, Tim.
Oh, yeah. This was in relationship to the Nick Diaz OnlyFans link that was put out there. And this dude posted, another commented, my wife won't believe me when I explain to her the charges on my account. OF Nick Diaz. Who's that hussy Nick Diaz you're looking at online? That slut Nick Diaz.
Can you imagine being like, what does he have that I don't? Okay, what does he have? And you'd be like, well, I mean, a good left hook? I don't know, babe.
Just knocked out Robbie Lawler? Have you knocked out Robbie Lawler?
You know what? This is, again, the same idea. Take that advantage. Go real quick with the offense. You stab when they come in. So when the wife's like, yo, what does he have that I don't? And be like, he knocked out Robbie Lawler. Oh, take that. Yo, what's up, babe? Last but not least, well, I think this is kind of last but not least. How will you be covering ADCC since Flo doesn't allow you in the interview? That's okay. I kind of get what you're trying to say here on the question. And then following that up with Fight Companion. Also, what did you think of Stuart Cooper interview? So yes, Fight Companion. How? I don't know. Maybe watch. See what happens. And then finally, what did I think of the Stuart Cooper interview? Full disclosure, Stuart has revealed a lot of that stuff to me over the years, and we have compared notes about our relative treatment by not just ADCC, but a number of different organizations. And I would never put myself in the same company as Stuart. Stuart has made legendary videos, and they have done huge numbers. Having said that, we both serve as outside individuals in this sport who aren't necessarily competing in it. I mean, he does. He's very good at it. But that, we call it kind of like supporting staff in the world of jiu-jitsu. Your media members, your content creators, your filmmakers. And there is a certain level of respect that we kind of really aim to have, and that I think is lost with a lot of different organizers. So when we compared those notes, I was sympathetic to his situation, and to hear him get to share that story, it was really cool. I felt very happy that he not only got to share it, but it's one thing to just bitch about your predicament. He was complaining or giving his situation and explaining it, while at the same point saying, but I'm going to be working at Craig Jones Invitational. I will be giving another highlight process. So we are amending some of the wrongs in the community. It's just baffling to me that those miscommunications and the way that we treat our supporting staff is so underreported. And that most of the times, just for the air of being professional, we don't share them. So yeah, seeing him explain his side of the world makes sense. And even him to have the growth and the maturity to say hey, it comes down to having some differences of opinion and maybe they didn't communicate it well. I don't think that's disrespectful at all. And I don't think it's far from the reality of what happened with him. So their loss is Craig Jones Invitational's game, and very happy to see that. So
yeah, and Stewart's an OG, man. That guy's been in the game. I was watching his stuff way back when, man. He was one of the only guys making cool stuff, to be honest with you.
And, it's very funny to me because our approaches are similar but different. When they asked him, how are you filming stuff? He was like, I didn't ask for permission. And we've joked over the years that I was like, I've done nothing but ask politely and try to do the professional way. And I've seen more often than not, the non-professional way is usually more effective. But I'll be damned. I have this little thing where I'm like, hey, here's how most sports work. And people are like, nah, we don't do that here. And you go, okay. So I will say this. Stuart has also been an incredible friend and supporter of what it is that we do here. So he has always sent good notes, good vibes. When we saw him at PGF, couldn't have been nicer, was super stoked, gave us great feedback, and just, listen, can not be happier for that guy. So super stoked for that. Tim, with that, I think we should be rounding third here. Let's go ahead and tell the people where they can find you, sir. So where can people find you, and what do you have coming up over on Inside BJJ?
So you can find me at all your favorite social media spots, Inside BJJ. We recently had Javi Vasquez on last. He actually said a lot of things. He had a very strong opinion about CJI and whether he thought it would be exciting or boring, and you might be surprised. We're going to have a local jiu-jitsu black belt from Nashville on this week, Clay Haywood, so we're going to have that on tomorrow. And then in other news, I got a Patreon set up, so if you like what I'm doing over at Inside BJJ, shameless plug here, check out patreon.com/InsideBJJ. Check me out in Nashville, 10P Nashville. If you're out in the 209, please go visit our sister school, 10th Planet Stockton. RAF, we are going to see each other in T-minus 7 days, man. So I'm stoked. I can't wait to see you, bud.
Likewise, sir. And I was actually kind of mad at you because I saw that you had your own version of an OnlyFans go up. And I was like, I didn't know that. So reminder to you, before we do our stuff next week, please get me commercials, because when we are live and on air for a long period of time, we have some very generous and nice folks who are coming in as sponsors for our event. And I cannot tell you what that means to us, because we are out there. We're going to be an independent production, so we're not associated with anybody. We have no affiliations. We have no biases toward any of these things. So it allows us to report it in a way that I think is a little bit more realistic to what you guys are watching, what you're thinking and feeling. So if you guys would like to get in on sponsorships here for the show, we do have a sponsorship deck. We would love to have you guys come in with us. And just right now, we got an announcement that we had somebody who's coming in as a sponsor. And I cannot tell you this enough, which is that other shows have sponsors. They mean the world to them. But for independent productions, it is life-changing. So it is super helpful, and it assures that we take care of our staff, which is really what we're trying to do here. So we don't want to be like other organizations and pass the buck. We want to do the best production here for the most economic price without being assholes to our friends. So every little bit you can help us out really does mean the world to us. And I promise you this, nobody else is doing coverage like this. There is no other show. Other people may have watch parties. Other people may be watching along or inviting you to watch them watch the event. Ours is going to be an interactive experience. And if you've ever watched any of our shows or any of our other previous incarnations of a fight companion for ADCC, I think you have an idea of what we're doing, but not the full picture. So get excited about that, you guys. And Tim, I'm looking forward to seeing you in a few days, and I'm going to close this off, but I will see you in a second. My thanks to you, sir, and our thanks to, I guess, the missing black void that is Kevin Sherrill over on this side. He was here, but he had to go. So appreciate you guys.
Peace.
All right, you guys. That's going to do it for us here at the Bullpen. You heard the man. Go support him on his Patreon, or you can also go and like and subscribe Inside BJJ. I want to see those numbers get up. So if you would be so kind, like, subscribe, do all that jazz right there. If you're watching on my channel and you aren't liking and subscribing, what's wrong with you? Do you have issues? Is there something wrong with your head? Do you not like this free entertainment? Because it means the world to us to give us that support. So I will tell you guys this. Oh, thank you so much for that, Jason. Appreciate that, my man. It's very nice of you to say. But yes, go like, comment, subscribe. Check me out on patreon.com/grappling hour, $5 a month. You will see new interviews. We have a host of new interviews that'll be coming out, but I hope that you forgive me. This next week is all ADCC CJI stuff. So taking a short little sabbatical to go take care of those things. And yes, next week we will be live in Las Vegas. Lots of action coming to you guys. So please get excited. Tell a friend if you would. Helps us all the more. So all your likes and shares are going to mean the world to us. Ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at the Bullpen. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.